Welcome to the Founders Foyer with me, Aishwarya. This foyer is full of conversations, the space where creators, founders, and builders can look for all the concepts and support to grow their ideas into products. A part of this project is the Foyer feature, a section that completely focuses on a specific project and how the founder behind the project created an impact. We'll be discussing all about their journeys, the ideas that they have, the techniques that they use, and a lot more. In today's feature, we have one such LinkedIn favorite creators. She's super versatile. She runs a venture capital podcast. She's also authored two books, while also being a huge crypto and Web3 junkie. Let's say hello to Grace Gong, the founder of Smart Venture Podcast, a LinkedIn top voice in finance, and the creator behind a bunch of products, which we'll be discussing today.
Yay! Hi, friends.
Hi, Grace. So awesome.
You're so professional. You're so professional. You killed it. You killed the introduction.
Thank you so much. And I think more folks should know about the amazing things that you are doing. I'm super happy to see, I'm like, oh my God, Grace does this, she does this. I'm like, wait, I really want to get to know what's the secret sauce. So yeah, I'm so happy you're on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on your amazing show.
Thank you. So let's begin with your journey into the LinkedIn creator, specifically the LinkedIn Creator Program. Really happy to be talking to an alum because I am really enjoying being a part of this program. So I would love to understand what is your thought process and what did you think when you applied to the program? What did you want to create?
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. So, as you know, I feel like I absolutely love the LinkedIn Creator Program. And I feel like I got super lucky to be in the first CAP program. And so I was surrounded by amazing creators. They all taught me a lot, as well as they're all extremely supportive. I feel like I had made lifelong friends through the program. So to talk about how I was gotten to the LinkedIn Creator Program, or why I applied, or why I joined the program. I feel like I had to share a little bit of the backstory on how I kind of got here. So how I started my podcast is primarily when I have to talk about when I moved to the US. When I moved to the US, I didn't have any business connection. I moved here for my undergrad as an international student. And when I moved here, my school is in in Chicago suburb, or 4 hours away from Chicago actual city. And when I moved to Silicon Valley, a lot of my friends who went to school in the Bay Area are surrounded by, tech people. And, they would go to a class and the VP of a big tech company would just teaching there, or giving a talk there. And instead of I feel like I wanted to recreate this type of experience for my younger self. Our school is amazing. However, from the geographic location wise, Silicon Valley has a lot more to, a lot of more tech related people around this area. So, as a product manager yourself, I feel like we all wanted to learn from, people from our dream company or dream position. So I wanted to create a podcast where no matter where you are, or no matter where you come from, no matter what job you're doing, you can always pick brains from the best. So when I created the podcast, I just really wanted to leverage my existing network, or the network that I can tap into, to recreate an experience that you can just have a coffee chat with these people, and someone like yourself who may be concerned about certain things you're early on in your career. How do you plan out your career to set yourself for success? So I wanted to create those kind of information diet for the future CEOs.
Awesome.
So that's basically the same thing why I applied for LinkedIn. I just really wanted to just share with career oriented people, so they know, there's a resources that exist. And then there is we talk about marketing, we talk about tech, we talk about product, we talk about how do you manage your career, and everything from personal development to career development to different kind of expertise. you can find all these answers throughout these conversations. And even if you just work for one particular sector in tech, you can come for inspirations because there's people from, cosmetics, there's people from Web3, there's people from crypto, there's people from fintech, there's people from B2B SaaS companies. And so all the leaders and investors and founders are all mixed in within this one product, and so people could be able to get inspirations from just everywhere in life, basically.
Absolutely. I think I can relate a lot with this because somewhere I love how you want to democratize conversations, like get it out for anybody across anywhere in the world, and it gets easier for them to connect. I think that was also the source of why I wanted to do certain projects like these, is to be able to help anybody who can, who have a question on their head and they're like, I would really love some help over here. So what I really dig into is how you were able to convert that idea and take it forward and actually host these conversations. Because it is definitely not easy. It's easy to think about the idea. It's easy to say, oh, I would love to connect with these CEOs or founders, but it's altogether another game to be able to connect with them, get them to agree and be on your show. So I think I would love to know, since you connect with so many C-suite leaders and founders, what are some lessons that you picked up from your journey? Because let's say anybody like you who now wants to start from the step zero, how would you help them start the project and scale up? What would you suggest?
Yeah, totally. I think after chatting with a lot of these amazing founders, leaders, and investors, I think one thing that they all shared in common is they really know themselves. So I think know yourself is the first starting point. Understand what is your strength, what's your weakness. And instead of when I was younger, I always hear this this saying about you need to fix your weakness. You need to just basically fix your weakness is the central focal point. And now when I was chatting with all these people, they did the opposite. They not only did not fix their weakness, they doubled down on their strength. So they really just they know, let's say I'm running a finance company and I'm really, really good at finance, but I'm really terrible at sales. And I would hire a salesperson to be my partner, so they can just sell this product for me, and then I can just focus on what I'm good at. So all these leaders, they all know who they are. They are just doubling down on what they're good at instead of trying their best to fix something that that could quote unquote call as their weakness. So I think those are my biggest takeaway. Just double down your strength and hire someone or partner with someone for your weakness.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's really interesting to go into the concept of how often people say, hey, reflect on your weakness. And sort of the immediate thing that we would do is, okay, is there a solution for me to immediately fix this? Or is there another thing that I can try to not be able to have this mistake? But that's pretty interesting concept to not go very deep into fixing the weakness, but doubling on your strengths. And absolutely agree with that. I think it's something that all of us can start applying. And it's often easy to say that, but of course, when it comes to reflecting on it, it's definitely a very challenging thing to do. And on a very similar context, I think I was talking to another founder, Padmini Janaki, and we were chatting about the same. How do you hire the next person on your team, especially if you're a single founder? We had a very similar conversation on how to look for complementary skills and how to know what you are good at, double down on that, and have another person. So it's great to get that from you as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Grace, for sharing that. Now a little more about you. You have a very versatile path with building things. You host a podcast on venture capital. You write about crypto, finance. You publish 2 books. I'm going to get a lot more on that. And you create videos as well. So when an idea strikes you, how do you go about deciding what to work on? And how do you get parallels from across all of these works?
I think I just follow my curiosity. I literally just been following my curiosity. I know that I am an entrepreneur at heart. So when I was in high school, I started a school English newspaper. So everybody from my high school, so I went to an international private high school in China, and like everyone's gonna study abroad, and like but we need to like kind of like describe what we did for our extracurricular activity. So I thought it would be cool if we all contribute to a newspaper and then send the newspaper to the school so the school can understand what we did instead of just like seeing our application to make us stand out. And so I had that idea and I just recruited my roommate. I would go like door to door through classes to like promote our stuff and like trying to recruit from the younger class. And within a year, so we started like one of the largest organizations on campus, and like everybody was not everybody, I would say half of the people was contributing from our class, and then our English teacher become our like editor, so they can like she can look at our grammar mistakes. So basically, it was just like a DIY school-ish project. And on weekends, so on Friday, so that when the parents come to pick us up, because I went to a boarding school, and the parents loves it. The parents all like, because their kids are on a newspaper, so they're like, oh my god, like we need to get like a dozen of these or like 100 of these. So it got sold out like each time we launch. And from that experience, I kind of like first time experienced a successful entrepreneurial journey. And I just like stopped the project after I went to school because I feel like it's just a school project. However, after I moved to Silicon Valley, after I chatted with a lot of my friends, they all started something when they were younger and they just keep pursuing it. And then like by the time that I met them, they are all, on the Forbes 30 or like they have some sort of success. Some of them sold a company to like well-known tech company later on. And I just feel like I was like, just like being in the room of like a lot of entrepreneurs like really inspires me to pursuing my entrepreneurial journey. And I feel like, so basically every time I have those conversations, I feel like I wish I was reading it when I was younger. I know, like, I wish I was like able to have like a peer group that kind of encouraged me to pursue what I wanted to do. So, and like I also wanted to learn, what are some tips and tricks for people to, do marketing, to raise funding, to recruiting someone like you mentioned. And I feel like that's like why I wanted to just like do each different project. They all seems really different, but I think it's just like a way that I'm pursuing entrepreneurship in like a different stage of my career.
Yeah, it's amazing how you had this going on from very early times of your childhood, and it's kind of nice to connect it back to the roots and say, I actually had a great project, and you got the validation from parents, from teachers around, and I think it's a little cool project to have started at that point in time. And what you're doing now is pretty much like a fully blown, like 10x of what you did back then, but. Definitely the roots were there. So it's great. And you're doing a great job. So I'm super proud. And it's lovely to see how you are able to connect that curiosity, because, just being curious and trying to start all of these projects is challenging on its own. But how do you like sustain? How do you like day in, day out, record a podcast, write something with a book, and also like try to talk to people and get your conversations out? It's never easy. So you are doing a great job.
Thank you so much. You too. I feel like when I'm looking at you, I feel like you're such a go-getter. You're always like, posting awesome content on LinkedIn. You're creating this podcast yourself. So I would say you are also like a great founder yourself. So one day I would love to learn about your creator journey as well.
For sure.
So
yeah.
For sure, after the conversation, but we'll have a deeper dive on like how you create content too. So I think there's like two parts. One part is like, I think input is extremely important. Like, so basically I think what you put out is essentially a condensed version of what you put into yourself. And before I started my podcast, I actually did not pay attention to my content diet. I would watch guilty pleasure, a certain reality TV show that's very popular in the US. I would, listen to whatever, just like on I bought a lot of books, but like it was just like whatever books I saw on like Amazon front page. So I was not really filtering like what exactly I was consuming every day. And when I started my podcast, I actually realized that like mind building is everything, because essentially every day, like you are what you consume. It's sort of similar to an actual diet. Like if every day you're eating fried chicken, you are gonna have a high cholesterol, right? Like if you're every day eating a kale salad, like you're consuming the fiber, you're consuming like the nutrient. So it's a lot better for you. Same to the content diet. If every day you're reading the New York Times, it's very different than every day you're reading the E magazine, or like, no offense to E magazine, I love it, but I'm just saying like the entertainment related things, right? Like, so it definitely makes a huge difference. So I would say like, since I started creating content, I was way more conscious about it. And then I think the second learning is, I think being a creator is almost the opposite of being creative. I think this is like very different than what people imagine. Like, oh, you're a creator, you must be like, drawing a picture every day, or like, writing a newsletter every day, or like based on feelings. Like today, like I'm listening to music, sitting in an artistic coffee shop and drinking like a kombucha, and like, writing something like on
Never
a piece
reality.
of paper. Yeah. So like the reality is like there's a lot of content planning. There's a lot of like scheduling. There's a lot of like research goes into it. There's a lot of editing, as well as like quality checking. I think it's a full-on operation job if you're defining what the job is. And in down the line, like after you monetize, there's like, the sales job, as well as like just like the business side of things. And if you're dealing with like, if you need like funding for your company, that's like a different set of job. Like fundraising is like a very different game. So I feel like as a creator slash founder, I think a lot of it is not being creative. A lot of it is because of like you have to set a system for success. So I think those are my major learnings on like, starting a company or being a full-time creator.
Great lessons, and absolutely with you on this. I think before you enter the journey of being a creator or then trying to be a founder, it's kind of often the grass is greener on the other side. It's always like, oh, I get to use my creativity. I get to push out different projects every day. But you sort of brought in the hard truth, which is never like the creative side of things, but it's a lot more process oriented. It also involves a lot to be operational, to be very consistent with your day-to-day efforts, and so you track progress, but at the same time you don't stop putting something out. So it is definitely a very arduous journey. So thank you so much, Grace, for bringing that reality out for folks. And I was pretty interested in diving into the content diet, or the input that you were talking about. So with technology, Web3, crypto, there's always changing trends. So how do you ensure, as you consume these piece of news or like piece of information, how do you ensure that you always keep up with trends? And is that putting any pressure on you when you try to translate it back to your content?
I think actually I like that pressure. I think because of I have to force myself to create content each week. So I only have like a format in mind. So for example, I should post like some thoughts on news, or some like polls on news, or some, a fundamental knowledge about Web3, or like finance, or like, one motivational, like inspiring story or something. So because of I have those structure in mind, so I was really seeking information in the space. So for example, I would read, like I'll listen to like podcasts on news every morning, so I would be well informed on like what's going on in the world. And and like as for like crypto related things, there's so many great newsletter and podcasts. I would just subscribe to everything, and then I would at least like scan on the titles, and like just like study is something that I just personally really a deep believer in the 1% rule. Like you just need to be 1% better than yesterday. I'm just that person.
It's
I
good
don't
to get these stories from people and share it with the others, right? So yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe in like one day just like you wake up and then you will just know everything. Because like English is my second language. So when I was studying English, I would just like try to have a conversation in English every day. So like I mean that's like my goal. And then like I don't really see myself having a giant improvement until maybe years later. And I was
Hmm.
always conscious about like do I have accents or something. So it's like similar. I think learning about crypto or learning about Web3 is similar to learning a different language. So
Yeah.
my plan is just to be 1% better than myself yesterday. So I don't believe like I will never like be as like having the same amount of expertise as some of the mega Web3 crypto guru, but I feel like just by being in the conversation, hearing
Hmm.
what's going on, studying something that I don't know from yesterday, and I think those steps will cumulatively make me a better person in this industry.
Yeah, I think this matters more, the attitude to be 1%. And I absolutely love that, to be 1% better than how you were yesterday and sort of go towards learning something that you still haven't known about. And it's
Mhm.
consistency at the end of the day. Like you said, it's going to be little steps towards the larger goal. But it's good that you've brought in the example of learning a language that's not native. I think most of us learned English as a second language. And definitely
Mhm.
that's how we would have learned as being a child. And often we
Mhm.
don't get back to those experiences. Like, how did we pick up a language? How did we pick up a certain hobby? It was because we did that almost every day, like getting
Mhm.
towards the goal closer every day, little by little.
Mhm.
So, of course, when we grow into adults, we suddenly think, oh, I want this like tomorrow. I want to get this like tomorrow. But
Mhm.
that tomorrow is going to be a lot longer
Mhm.
than what we expect. So, very true, very true. Yeah, so let's now dive a little deep into your author journey, which is like, how did you manage to write two books? Especially, you had both of these books focused on founders and like getting practical concepts from them directly. So, what led you into this plan, and how did the writing and publishing journey give you more insights into who you are today?
I think a lot of it were having conversation with people because my books are primarily like interview based or like story based on people's stories. And I feel like a lot of it were just like chatting with people throughout the creation journey. I got to chat with a lot of people, like maybe 5x whoever was in the book. So like I think I got a chance to just like learning from people who are just like learning the backstory, not only like the really shiny part of like how they make it, but just like really also just like seeing how people actually operate a company. And I would totally encourage each person, if you really want to start a company in a certain space, you should chat with whoever you can in that space. It doesn't have to be publishing a book, as nowadays, like most people would consume media in a different way, such as reading a LinkedIn post or listening to a podcast or watching a TikTok or
Hmm.
watching a YouTube video. So I think the media platform like slowly switch because people are more digital native. And but the conversation should still be like in the center of the room, because like a lot of times like you learn a lot from people's failures, and like people typically wouldn't share it on a public place, but like they would probably like share it over dinner or something like. And I feel like just like I learned so much from just like people openly shared about their
Hmm.
you know why they feel like things don't work. So I kind of like I really admire that. And I feel like it's really you get better from learning what you did
Yeah.
wrong. So like I think it's really like I think it's really important to have these conversation. And I think you're doing a great job. You're like, meeting people through LinkedIn as well as like, your own platforms. And I feel like I have no doubt like one day you will like be a master at it.
Thank you so much. And I think I am totally with you because how to get people to talk to, and that really depends on the kind of questions that you ask them. And like you mentioned, people aren't very comfortable sharing what went wrong, what was a mistake. And often you have to create that right setting for them to be able to trust in you, to share that story with you. So it's great that you not only got that in terms of like sharing with you, but you also try to put it back to the community, which is very important to me. And with this whole project, even the Founders Foyer, is because I want to get these candid stories from a lot of us who are trying to just do our little bits of work in helping others around and trying to get these conversations out. So it's a great example from what you have done for folks who are listening to this to pick up and like just start at it. Like if they have an idea, just like plan it around and start somewhere, because from your journey, it's very evident that you pick lessons while you're at it. Like you can't plan a lot of these things out, but then you have to start and then keep gathering inputs while you're on the journey.
For sure. I totally agree with you. I think like start is just half of the game. Yeah, for sure. And I also feel like people should pick what they're good at. I think like, a lot of successful founders, they're not doing something extremely interesting for the most people, but however, I feel like they just figure out like the founder product fit. So for example, let's say, like I feel like, after working in venture capital, like I feel like most of the people I know stayed in venture capital because it is a really interesting job, as well as it's a lot more well paid than like, if you just started your own company. From day one, you're essentially like trying to land other people as your clients, right? Like, so, or like as your investor. So like so it's a less comfortable job in general. However, I feel like if you really feel like that's your calling, or like that's something that you would thrive at, like I totally feel like you should pursue something, not something that like most people would feel like you should do. So I think those are things that I kind of learned throughout the journey. I feel like everybody who are successful are really good at like listening to their inner self.
Yeah, true, very true. And was it like something that you were able to learn when you were like earlier on the operating journey? You were working for companies, and then when you transitioned into being a full-time creator and somebody who runs something on your own, I think this is a great lesson. Was there anything else that you particularly noticed when you had this transition in the journey?
I think I guess I did not realize like hiring would be a huge part of the job. I was quite surprised because I feel like at the beginning I thought sales would be like a really important job. And I realized like, putting together a team, like how do you examine people's ability as well as like their work quality is really, really hard unless you spend time to work with them. And I feel like those are just something that I'm constantly trying to learn and trying to improve. I feel like, yeah, like I feel like it's just like something that I never thought would be a huge important part of, oh well, like of course I know people makes everything. So like if you have like the right people on the bus, like your life will be a lot easier. But like you can like, create more valuable projects. However, I feel like just making sure people making sure people have the right skill set as well as that they're happy with their career, helping them succeed as a founder, and also like making sure just like everyone can work together well. It's like very, very crucial to a business success. And those are something I learned. I wish I, read more books about it, like making sure I have a system set up and everything. Like it was just like, yeah, it was a quite interesting observation after I started my founder journey.
Yeah, certainly. Can't agree more on that. And I think with hiring people or trying to set up your initial team, it's always day one. You have to pick up lessons that are completely new every day. There's like a learning that you get, and you're like, oh, I didn't quite think about this yesterday, but here I am, like dealing with this today. So for sure, and I think it's like you said, books definitely, but a lot of this is on the journey. Like you get it every day, and you're like, okay, I think I am going back to your concept 1% better. I'm 1% better over here today. Like what am I supposed to look at for tomorrow? So yeah, definitely a challenging journey for sure. And yeah, I agree with that. Awesome. So one last question for the day, since we were talking about all the content and the different channels, I would love to know from you as a creator, is there like any interesting pattern or any practice that could help a new creator or a new founder who's just trying to create content about their brand or their product on the web? Like, what do you got to say to them from your experience?
I think there's two things I personally would say. I think number one, again, like I would say finding what's best suit for you. Like I think number two is like figure out what exactly you want to accomplish. So I don't think like the amount of eyeballs which will turn that into business. So if you're a founder, it's different than if you're a creator. So if you're a creator, you're trying to shoot for maximum amount of impact. Like I think definitely figure out what platforms use best for your content. So, I'm fully aware my podcast is about career development and a lot of it were about business strategy and Web3. And so I think LinkedIn is a perfect platform for that, as like people are here trying to find more opportunity in their industry or in their scope of work in general, and then they're trying to find informations, right, and quality informations. So like I think LinkedIn is like my favorite platform to create. I am extremely thankful for my creator manager and the LinkedIn program to give me the chance to be a part of the program, as well as like in the CAP program. It was amazing. And as for the second part, is like I think if you are a founder, like I think like sure, generating a lot of traction would be great. However, if you're trying to land the type of clients that you want, you really have to think about like what type of content you're trying to create, right? Like, I think definitely focus on the quality of the attention that you're generating than like just like what is the number look like every day. So social media does not turn to sales. So like if you're trying to focus on like having a more meaningful engagement with people, and I feel like putting out high quality content in your particular sector and then figure out the platform that suits best for your content is more important than like shooting for the highest eyeballs or highest amount of like just like numbers in general.
Spot on. Yeah, like find out what works best for you, your ideas, and what you want to achieve. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Grace. I think it's been such a wonderful learning session for me as well, because I love connecting with fellow creators. So you share a lot of things that you learned in your journey, and it's great to get all of these out. And we want more of this on the community to be able to connect folks together, get their ideas together. So this is just a start, and I'm so happy that you are a part of this today, and you shared so many of your learnings and fun things that you had as a part of your track. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad to like get to chat with you. And I feel like you are just like super like I feel like you're just like really hustling, and then you're like just like putting out great content on LinkedIn, as well as like I just feel like you are very yeah, you're just like very driven, and like I'm pretty sure you will be like very successful one day.
Thank you so much. And yeah, all the best to you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.